Let's get started with the first program I wanted to show you today. The first one I'm going to show you is called SonoBus. It is a open source free software for download. If you notice that it has a download for Mac, Windows, iOS, and you can also pull the source if you are looking to do something like that. In my case, I'm going to install the Mac version, so I will click there. So you'll notice that this program actually comes in various formats. You can install the standalone program, or you can install plugins to use inside of different softwares like DAWs like Pro Tools or Logic. So you just drop that in applications. So now that you've run SonoBus, the first thing you're going to need to do is set up your audio device. So if you just X out of this, click Setup Audio, you're going to pick your interface input and your interface output, and then the the channels that you're going to be having stuff come in and out of. So 1 is going to be our guitar, 2 is going to be our vocal, output 1 and 2 is just the stereo left and right. Sample rate 48K, I'm just going to leave it at that default. And your audio buffer size is going to be your hardware interface setting. So for me, I'm using 64 samples. You may have to experiment with this, keep it as low as possible without introducing any additional cracks and pops and whatnot. The higher you go with this, the more latency you're going to add to the signal, but it may be a little bit smoother of a signal. For options, I'm going to set my default send quality to PCM 16, which is uncompressed audio. Now, it may seem strange to do that because of the increase of bandwidth usage, but you're actually lowering the latency of your computer processing this audio. If you're going to one of these other compressed formats, it's going to have to add a couple additional milliseconds to encode that audio, and then also on the other side to decode the audio. So I prefer the 16-bit. I've had good experience with that. It's really high quality. Auto mode for the jitter buffer is good to start off with. There is going to be some more advanced things you can do once you start connecting to people and seeing how that's performing, where you can adjust it further, and we'll go into more of that later. Recording is a really nice feature of SonoBus. You can actually pick a path, audio format, and then choose what you want to record, whether that's everyone in the session into their own WAV files, or if you want to just do the full mix that you have set up into its own stereo mix. However, it's really, really a nice feature, and all you need to do is just click this little record button at any time. It creates these files for you in this folder. Okay, before you're going to connect to anybody else, you're going to want to adjust your input volume into SonoBus. This is going to be, your guitar, your vocal, whatever. It's going to be the volume that gets sent to everybody else. So this will affect people, so you do want to just kind of set it and leave it so you don't affect their mix. Now, if you want to hear yourself through SonoBus, then you want to adjust this monitor. Now, if you're, let's say, listening to yourself directly from your sound card, you just want to leave this off so you don't hear yourself kind of, twice. A couple other things you have at the bottom here, you have a metronome you can turn on. Some metronome options for BPM and level. That's just for yourself to hear. You can send it to all as well. There's another feature where you can upload your own sound file, which will play for everybody as well. Say you have like a backing track or like drum beat you want to play with people, so that's a nice way to do that. There's effects you can add yourself, reverb, a couple things it comes with. As well as up here, you can do some noise gate compression, EQ, which is nice if you just have raw audio and you need to clean it up for everybody else. Now in this pan settings, this is going to be how your signal is sent to everybody else. So if you want to have a channel 1 instrument, channel 2 vocal, you do want to combine those into a mono signal by doing send mono. Otherwise, if you were to send stereo, you're going to have your voice in their left ear and the guitar in the right ear, so you may not want that. You do have the ability to play with this pan settings that can kind of adjust that as well. Now that you're ready to connect to other people in SonoBus, I wanted to give you more information about the software. It is peer-to-peer, meaning that you're making a direct connection to other computers as they join your session. There's no server in the middle passing the audio. So your audio is really just going from your computer to theirs over the internet in as low latency as possible. With a server solution, there may be added additional latency. So this is actually a good thing. If you start getting into sessions that have 10 plus people, say you're doing a big choir, this might not be the best solution for you. A server-based one may actually perform better. things start to kind of glitch out when you get that many people, just because you're making so many different connections. Now, the first option you have is called a private group. What that means is you can just set a name for your group. I have Benja here. You can also set a password if you're worried about people guessing this and coming in on you. You can also put your name that's going to appear to the other people here. Down at the bottom, you will see a connection server, and I know I just talked about it not being server-based, but all this is a place that registers your groups so that other people can find them if it's a public group, or, you know, it matches them for the private group. So you're not actually passing audio through here, which is, you know, the little disclaimer down here. If you are worried about using this public server, you can create your own. That's in the documentation for how to do that. So once you're ready, you just connect to that group. So the first little area, you are going to see how much bandwidth you are sending up to them. Second area, you're going to see your jitter buffers, which, if you don't know what a jitter buffer is, it's basically a compensation for, you know, changes in your internet speed. It will buffer the audio a little bit to kind of not cause, you know, weird audio artifacts and crackling on your end. If you do start to get that crackling, you may need to bump up the jitter buffers, but if you have it in auto mode, it's going to do that for you once it experiences any kind of dropout. For my experience, leaving in an auto mode works pretty well, but if you start drifting off and off throughout the session and starts getting higher and higher millisecond delay, you may want to go put it in manual mode, and you can adjust the actual buffer sizes here. That way you can kind of tailor it to get the lowest latency possible without introducing some really bad audio. You can also say what you prefer the quality to be coming back from them. Say you want to just put everything in PCM audio. That's how you do it. You can adjust the pan of their audio coming to you and the level, as well as, you know, put compressors and things on them to kind of help treat if their audio is kind of, you know, getting too loud, too quiet. So another thing that's helpful for is, say you do have a lot of people in your session, you can mute them. When you mute them, it's actually going to help your bandwidth because it's not going to send their audio to you anymore. You also have the option to not send someone your audio, where you can, you know, disable sending. That's also going to help, you know, with some of your bandwidth if, you know, they don't need to get your audio for some reason. So that's the basic features of SonoBus. Hope you liked it. Hope that you give a chance to check it out. Please subscribe to my channel to get other videos that I'm going to be putting out about SonoBus. Things like multi-channel recording in your DAW, doing advanced routing from other softwares like virtual amps. There's so many other ways to use the software, so you may want to check that out.